bro, I will blow up on these kids because I lose my patience.
Mm,
And God, man, when I tell you, at times, bro, that thing makes me cry, bro. Like I break down, bro.
yeah,
It's times when I'm at work and I'm just crying, bro. Like to myself in my own little
yeah.
world, and I'm just like, man, God, like I need help.
Hey, what's up, folks? It's your boy, the Corn King, aka D.King, and you are listening to the Blue Chip Dads podcast. Today, I have an awesome young brother on the line with me. His name is Mr. Anthony Ray. He is the CEO, the podcast extraordinaire, entrepreneur dude of Dad Can We Talk. My man has been married for 9 years. He know I knew that. I've been kind of silently stalking him.
Yeah,
Has 3 kids, and he's a follower of Christ. So like, you don't really need to know anything else about him. That's everything right there. 3 kids. There's
yeah,
no room or time for anything else in his life. Uh, ask me how I know. But
yeah.
yeah, man, welcome to the show, Mr. Ray.
Man, hey, I appreciate you letting me come on this show, man. When as soon as I seen you do it, I was like, man, I would love to have my go on there and chop it up with my big brother, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and what's funny is I have to tell you the story of how I maybe one day if I'm on your show, man, I'll tell you how I came to doing the Blue Chip Dads podcast.
Yeah,
And then when I realized I didn't even connect the two that you were doing a dad's podcast. Like I knew you was doing one. We had
yeah,
talked about it and all that, but I
yeah,
just didn't connect it at the time when I put it out because God was just leading me, man, and so I was just going.
yeah.
But it's just crazy that we are both now in the same arena, man, and I'm really looking forward to like being a blessing to you, man, and hopefully we can like be a blessing to each other, man. So I'm
That's
happy
real.
that you are on the show. Um,
That's real.
Really, you are literally my second guest to be on this podcast, man. So thank you for taking out the time to be here with your boy.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Got to do that.
So I know you used to being on the other end of this, asking all the introspective questions, really
Yeah.
getting into the minds and hearts of these dads. And today, man, I'm gonna shine the spotlight on you and ask you a few questions, man. And one of the things that I like to highlight or want to highlight in the show is our successes and our failures.
Yeah.
Easy to talk about where we got it right. It's
Mm-hmm.
too often we don't really want to talk about where we got it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's where we got it wrong that helps us to get it right. A failure or a mistake isn't necessarily a failure unless you allow it to be.
Yeah.
I like to look at it as a stepping stone. I know not to do that again. So it wasn't a failure. It was just an opportunity for me to succeed the next time around. Uh,
That's
so
real.
let's talk about some of those, man. When you like became a father, like first of all, how old are your kids?
Ooh, I got one that's turning 8 next
Uh-huh.
Friday. And
Okay.
then I got a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old. So my oldest and my youngest are girls, and my middle is my son.
That's dope. So my oldest is turning 4 next
Ooh.
Friday.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm, mm, mm.
You heard my old.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my oldest is turning 4 next Friday. My youngest is just turned 4 months. So,
Ooh.
and I have a 2-year-old. So I need to learn, man. A
Hey,
big part of this podcast is gonna be me asking questions like, "Hey, what do I do next?"
yeah.
Because I'm lost.
Yeah.
There's no manual to these kids, man. So can you tell me, man, of a time where you got it wrong, like, and you had to come back and maybe apologize to your kids or your wife or to God and reverse course?
Man, bro. I don't even know where to start. I got so many failures, man. Seriously, bro. Like, and I'll just start with my most recent one, which was yesterday.
Okay.
Actually, this was this was with my wife and my kids. So, my wife came home from work yesterday. So, just for some context, usually when I get off work around 2 o'clock in the day, Tuesday through Friday. You know, I'm with the kids for the rest of the day until my wife gets off work around. She usually gets home around 6. So
Mm-hmm.
I had been with the kids all day yesterday, and so they were all minding their business, man. They were
Mm-hmm.
in the living room playing. I was in the room doing some homework. I was chilling, bro.
Okay.
So my wife comes home 6 o'clock. Now, like I say, they've been chilling all day. So my baby girl, which is 4 years old, so that's why I was like, woo, because my 4 year old, she is something serious, bro.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
my 4 year old
I
decides to
get it.
come in the room and
Uh-huh.
she just starts to she's just whining like, oh, I don't have anything to do, this and that. And I'm like, and I feel like a lot of times she tries to play on our emotions. And I think a lot of times my wife falls for it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just the type that I don't really fall for it because I feel like at times, I feel like she's trying to manipulate her way into getting her way at times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it makes me a little mad. So she comes in the room, and then my wife starts fussing at the other kids, like, hey, give her a turn on this, give her a turn on that. And I'm like, man, they've been sitting in there doing. No, I'm saying this stuff as the babies are listening and they're right here. And I'm like,
Mm,
no, no, they don't do nothing. Like, man, she's been good for hours, and now all of a sudden you come home and now she has a problem and she's crying. And I'm like, no. So as I say that, my oldest daughter, my son was like, well, Azra, you should let her get a turn. And my oldest daughter says, well, no, you heard what daddy just said. I don't have to.
mm.
And so in the moment, I'm still just like, man, whatever. Like, this girl, she does this all the time. And then my wife
Yeah.
just kind
Yeah.
of looking like, why you do that? So I could tell she was hot. She was kind of mad with me, but she didn't say nothing at the time. So I went on and on and on for about another 30 minutes. And so my wife pulls me to the side, like, you know what? That really upsets me when you do that in front of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, I knew I was wrong. Like, dang, that's something that I am trying to work on. Like, not like even though we disagreed in that moment, and she was like, I understand what you're saying, but just don't do that in front of the kids because now
Yeah.
they're not seeing the unity that we need to have. And if you feel like Nana, which is my youngest, who was started the problem, if you feel
Mm-hmm.
like Nana does that, tell me when it's just me and you. Don't do that in front of the kids. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, man, you know what? I can't even argue with that. Like that's on me, and that's something that I'm really working on. That's just my most recent,
Yeah. Yeah.
failure.
Yeah.
And it's just so many, man, every day, bro. Every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. And I get that everyday thing. Like I feel like it's easy to fail every day when you're active.
Yeah, that's real.
Um, you know, is when you're not active and when you're not in tune or when you're not focused on your kids, then you fail less because you're not actually trying and you're not really involved. So,
That's real.
those failures aren't necessarily bad only if you repeat them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, I kind of want to ask you, okay, so your wife addressed it with you, but did you address it with your kids? Did you go back and apologize, or did you say like, hey, hey, I was wrong in that moment, or did you kind of like say, next time around, I'm not gonna let that happen again?
I just said to myself, I'm gonna try to make sure I don't do that again.
Yeah. Okay.
And no, but as you're saying that, I should have
Hmm.
went back. And there's times when I do mess up, and I have to go back to the kids, like, hey,
Yeah.
listen, you know, I got that wrong in this moment. And I
And
think that's a really important thing to do that.
uh, yeah, absolutely. And the reason I ask that is because our kids need to see not just our vulnerability, but our humanity. Like,
That's real.
like they know, they know dad is human, but um it's almost like how you said when you came into the situation, you just kind of like you took autonomy over it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and so if you leave that situation with autonomy, then when you come back, and I ain't even come on here to talk to you, like I ain't trying
Yeah. But that's
to
real. That's
but
real.
no, because I have to address that with myself so often. My oldest is turning 4. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard for me to go back and address my son and be like, "Hey, Dad was wrong in this situation." Like I apologize to my kids so often, man, just as much as
Yeah.
I apologize to my wife.
Real. Got to.
Uh, yeah, yeah. But it's because I'm stumbling through this thing. Like I feel like I'm stumbling to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Um, has there been a time where you made a mistake that it was something that you couldn't easily fix, with your
Oh.
kids?
Let me see. Mistake.
Yeah, I want to ask the hard questions.
Mm.
And the reason I ask that question is, how did you fix it? When it's something that you can't just say, I'm sorry.
Let me think that.
For me, I could tell you like my temper. Um, you know,
Mm.
I wasn't raised with my father. I was raised, single mother. And,
Mm.
when you're raised by a single mother, she kind of has to be everything. But moms wasn't built to be everything. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And so, they have to overcompensate to provide structure that they weren't built or created to provide. And so, with that, moms would overextend herself sometimes in certain areas with her frustration
Mm.
with us. I'm saying this
Oh
in a,
my God.
yeah, with her frustration with us. And that it gets passed down. And so
Mm.
I don't have to overextend myself in my frustration with my kids because we have that structure of mother, father, home. And there are
Mm-hmm.
times when I do, man, and a sorry just won't do it. I have to like sit down with them and talk it out and say, hey, look, uh, dad's stupid sometimes.
Mm.
You know,
That's real. It's funny that you say that. Now that you say that, man, I think that's one of my biggest struggles, bro.
uh-huh.
Like honestly, I think that's one of my biggest struggles with my children. And like you say, the overextending. I think at times I trust too much in myself.
Mm,
You know, I
yeah,
think at times I trust in myself to get things done more than I rely on more. I think I can rely more on my wife than what I do. And at times I take everything into my hands because I'm just so used to, like I'm a hands-on person, bro.
mm-hmm,
And I want to do everything. I want to have my hands in this, have my hands over here. And man, when I tell you that has caused so many problems, just one in my marriage, at times it's caused so many problems,
yeah,
because I'm all like, I don't know how to just let things go, bro. Like, I don't know how to just be like, man, you know what? I'm going to take my hands off of it.
yeah,
That's a hard thing. And at times I get so frustrated with my children because I am over, like, um, I work full time, in a
uh-huh,
warehouse. So I'm getting the physical labor that's wearing on my body. And then I'm a full time student also.
mm,
So I'm finishing up my bachelor's degree this year. So I got that going on. And then, like I say, throughout the week after I get off work, I go straight to get the kids. So I'm spending a lot of time with the kids. And then, I've been building my own
mm-hmm.
podcast for over a year and just all of these different things that I have going on. So at times,
Hey guys, look, I am new to podcasting. So when I decided to get in the game, I needed an app that would work for me. And Anchor was that app. Not only does it allow me to record myself, but I can also record my guests by sending them a simple link. It's everything you need to record a podcast in one place. And on top of that, it's free. Like free. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
bro, I will blow up on these kids because I lose my patience.
Mm,
And God, man, when I tell you at times, bro, that thing makes me cry, bro. Like I break down, bro.
yeah,
It's times when I'm at work and I'm just crying, bro. Like to myself in my own little
yeah,
world, and I'm just like, man, God, like I need help. Like sometimes I get so frustrated with my kids, and I believe that God has really just been, man, that thing right there, bro, is it's a daily struggle, man. Just giving it, just taking my hands off of things and giving it to
Ooh,
God, or using the one that God has given me, my
mm,
wife, to help
mm,
me.
mm.
You know, and it's so hard for me to ask for
Ooh,
help sometimes, man.
yeah.
Man.
So
Yeah, bro.
you
Like,
said a
man, yeah.
mouthful, bro. Oh, I want to like dig into all of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, man.
that was actually going to be one of my questions: is do you ever deal with burnout? And that's exactly what that is, man.
Mm. Yeah,
It's where
that's real.
you have all these different things up in the air, and you're trying to juggle, man, but you don't even know how to juggle. We didn't go to juggling
Right.
school. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's like you're learning as you go to juggle all these different things, man. And you can't fail in any of those areas. You can't fail in school, you can't fail as a father, you can't fail at work. All these things have to stay
Real.
up in the air. And with that being said, man, it can be a lonely feeling, even though you're married and you have a wife and you have kids and you have family and you have a podcast and you have people around you. When you're extending yourself so much like that, man, it's hard to wrap your arms around yourself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see how that can be mentally um, taxing. You know what I mean? Like just the pressure of it all. And as black men, we have this. We have to succeed. You know what I mean? Like you
Mm-hmm.
can't fail. Um,
Real.
it's not even it's so much outside pressure, and then the pressure that we put on ourselves as well. So it's like pressure coming from both ends, from the outside and from the inside. And so
Mm.
there's failure is really not an option. So you're kind of trapped, man. And
Yeah, man.
and
Real.
so that when you find yourself crying or dealing with those emotions in private, man, or at work, man, that's really like steam got to get let out somewhere. If it don't,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, it's gonna come across on the kids and on the wife, and trust me, I know. um
Yeah.
I know that all too well, man.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my biggest issues as well, man. It's like knowing when to calm down, when to step aside. Like my wife tells me, like I have a 2-year-old. I have a 2-year old
Mm. Man.
and I have a 4-year old. They are both
Mm-hmm.
at those stages right now. And the 4-year old
Mm.
stage, the 2-year old stage. And
Yes, sir.
one is highly emotional, the other one is highly needy, and they're both
Mm.
boys. And
And you got
I got
girls,
no, I
right?
got one girl. She only 4 months.
You got boys. Okay.
So I got boys,
Okay.
and so I kind of want them to just be tough. I don't need you to be emotional right now. Just
Yeah.
toughen up,
Yeah.
where the head on your chest at. What's
Yeah.
going on, man? Just
Yeah.
calm down. Stop crying. Like I'm always saying, stop crying.
Yeah.
But I need to learn how to let my kids
Yeah.
cry because, you know,
Yeah.
they're kids. That's crying is a part of
Real.
their expression. That's a part of their vocabulary. It's not a part of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I was, we was, especially as men, we was raised to not cry, let it out. And so I'm saying all that to say, like, um, you know, when my kids go there, it's hard for me to not go there. Like, it's almost like the police officer pulls you over, and he's supposed to be de-escalating, but he's escalating the situation. But he's the police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bruh, this is your
Yeah.
job. You're the
All right.
professional. I'm the one that should be irate. You're
Okay.
the one that should be telling me to calm down and helping me calm down. And
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I'm that police officer that's escalating the situation. Man, if you don't go sit down, like,
Yeah. All right.
yeah. So,
Trust me, I know.
so the question is, like, how do we correct that? How do we correct course? Like, how do we slow down, man, and say, what I'm doing it's not working. It doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Even I mean, think of it like this. You're doing all these things, but at the end of the day, you're still dealing with this void and you're still dealing with this pressure and the steam that has to come out, and it comes out in the wrong way, then that's not success. You know,
All right,
you
that's
know what I
lit,
mean? Like,
man.
it,
You know what's so funny
go ahead.
about that? I was talking with my wife about it. Last month, bro, probably was my hardest month I've had. Oh man, see, I usually only take one class a
Mm-hmm.
month. I'm in an online program, but last month was one of the rare months where I do two classes in a
Mm-hmm.
month. And so I was like, man, I was like
Mm-hmm.
overload, bro. And they were like intense
Mm-hmm.
classes along with everything that was going on last month just in regular life. And so, man, there was one night, bro, I'm just sitting on the bed, bro. I'm like, man, I don't know if I can
Mm-hmm.
do it, God. And I was talking crazy, I'm like, man, I think I'm gonna just quit school, babe. I'm talking with my wife. And my wife looked at me and she was like, man, Shaw, that ain't you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that ain't you talking. Like you can't let that stuff. You can't be around here thinking or talking like that. Like I understand where you're at, but if it's stressful, then stop stressing. Like it's so like she played a song. I don't even know what song she played. Whatever song she played for
It
me,
wasn't
bro.
D.King.
When I tell you, no, listen, man, bro, listen. I cried,
uh,
bro. Like I'm talking about
uh,
cried. And then as I was crying, it was like God was restoring me and just telling me, you're putting entirely too much pressure on yourself.
yeah.
Like sometimes it's not that serious. It's like, especially when it comes to school, like for my AA
Mm-hmm.
degree, I was like a 4.0 student. I got straight A's. And so coming into this bachelor program, I had that same pressure on myself. And one thing my wife said was, C's get degrees also.
Mm,
Like you don't have to put all that pressure on yourself. It's all right, Shaw. Like it's all
yeah.
right. And then coming right behind her, a couple of days after that, I was talking with one of my boys, man, one of my close friends, and I was just kind of talking with him. And he has like a master's degree.
Uh-huh.
Man, that man told me, he said, Shaw, bro, listen. And he's like, he works for Coke. He's like one of the big people in Coca
Yeah.
Cola. And so he was like, man, bro, at times if I'm interviewing someone for a job, he was like, you know what I would think of a person who comes in with a 4.0 and they've been to Harvard? He was like, I'm gonna think that person is an a-hole.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I'm just being honest with you. He was like, that's how we look at people like that because we think that they most likely they're gonna be an a-hole, they're gonna be
They don't know
cocky.
how to
And he
socialize.
was like,
Yeah.
they don't he was like real talk. And he was like, instead of hiring that person, I'll hire the person that had the 2.9 that's down to earth and has personality.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said that, he was like, it just hit me. And he was like, man, bro, it's all right, bro. Like, you ain't got to get straight A's, bro. Like, you're putting that pressure on
Mm.
yourself. Ain't nobody else doing that.
Mm.
And I was like, man, you know what? You right, bro. And it just solidified everything that my wife told me that night. And it was like God just speaking to me, bro. And I'm like, man, you know what? I am. I put entirely too much pressure on myself to almost be perfect. And it's like, we ain't perfect.
Bro, so
Like,
that really brings me to the
yeah,
David and Goliath story, bro. And I'm not even gonna
yeah,
try and preach right now, bro. But when
yeah.
you look at
Preach.
when David came to the field and all his people were scared, like trembling, shivering, and the Bible said like the man came 40 days, 40 nights, repeating the same thing. Everybody all scared, and I look at them as the people who are putting the pressure on themselves. Like David came and was like, wait, who is this dude coming up against? My God. They were looking at Goliath like this dude is coming up against us. You know
Ah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And to make it a real short story is like we have to realize like the battle isn't ours. Like David never went to fight his battle. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Dang.
And he volunteered himself.
Yeah,
He volunteered
yeah,
to not fight his battle.
yeah.
Whereas they were so scared, they wouldn't fight the battle because they was thinking about themselves and what they need, how would they win, how would they get the victory. They're looking at the problem, at the situation. David was looking at God. He never lost focus on who his victor was. And so when I asked that question, man, I was actually asking for myself as well. And you was like, you have to give it to God. And as soon as you said give it to God, it's like, duh, that's exactly what David did.
Dang. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? he went and served it up to God.
So true,
And it's like, yeah, this ain't no issue for me. I know what God can do.
yeah.
He's done it before.
Hmm.
So
That's
and
good.
then also another, I think, key point that you had brought up was two. I got really three good things off of that. One, giving it to God. Two, confiding in your wife, man, allowing her to restore you and to build you up
Yes,
and to
sir.
speak life into you. And then three, getting wise counsel, talking to,
Mm-hmm.
the brother that with the master's degree, who's able to tell you, to give you wisdom and say, hey, look, man, you putting too much pressure on yourself. This, that, and the third. I think the answers are there. We just have to slow down and see them and look at them.
That's
Yeah, that
it.
was good, man. That was good. Um, I,
You spoke to me, man. Trust me. You
I,
spoke.
I, I feel like a lot of brothers are dealing with burnout, especially dads, because it goes back to what we were saying. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Um, have you had a time when your wife was dealing with burnout? Mm.
Hmm. Yes. And it's funny because when she was dealing with it, it's like I was so
Mm.
unaware. And this was maybe 2015, I would say, about 2015ish, 2016ish. And man, I was doing a lot of community work. You know how we used to
Yeah,
always be
yeah,
in the
I
community,
remember.
man. And bro, it was like I would get off work. At this time, we had my son. My son had just been born. It was like 2015, 2016. My wife was pregnant with my youngest. They're like 10, 11 months apart. So it was like right after that. This was 2016. And man, I remember I used to go to work, get off work, and go straight to the hood.
Yeah.
Literally. Like just all right, babe. I done been gone already all day. And my wife used to be a stay-at-home mom at that time. So it was like she's already been home with the babies all day. I've been at work all day. I get off work, come home, change my clothes. Sometimes I ain't even change my clothes. I go straight across town to the hood.
Mm.
And I was out there all night hanging with the young boys,
No, no.
like real like real deal, just and I used to feel like, man, this is what God called me to do,
No.
like, man, I got to mentor these jits, man, and I'm telling my wife all this stuff. And man, one night, boy, I came home. Well, my wife let me
Mm.
have it. And she was, and she was just crying, bro. She was like, and what the thing that really hit me, she was like, Shaw, you don't even know that I've been dealing with thoughts of
Yeah,
suicide.
yeah.
Like it's like you don't even think about me. It's like you don't even think
Mm.
about what I'm going through. You're just running, 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 being over here, being over there, but you're not worried about what's in your house. Man, bro, listen. At the time, and I remember I got so hot about it, because I'm like, I felt like she was attacking me.
Mm. Mm.
So we got into it
Talk
about it, bro.
about that.
And it messed with, man, bro. Okay, bro, listen. I got hot with her because I felt like she was attacking
Yeah.
me. And so I got on the defensive,
Ooh.
and I ain't make the situation no better,
Yeah.
bro. And that's just me being 100% honest. Like, I made the situation even worse because now I started saying, well, you be home all day with the kids. You don't even go to work, this and that. Like, I'm saying all this,
Yeah.
bro. Listen, I was terrible, and I don't know what I was thinking about at that time. And I remember the same guy I told you about that told me about the school stuff. I remember talking with him about it.
Yeah.
Man, my dog always keep it real. Shout out to my brother Robert Frazier, man.
Oh,
Robert Frazier
yeah, man.
always,
Robert
man,
Fraser,
my brother
that
keep,
that dude.
yeah,
Yes.
what?
That's
Man,
that
listen,
dude.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, shout out to my boy Rob, man. But Rob keep it so real with me all the time. That's why I love that brother so much, man. You know, like if I die today, I'll trust that brother with my children
Bet,
any day.
bet.
You know, real talk. But I remember Rob telling me, boy, yo, that community ain't your first
Mm-hmm.
ministry. Your first ministry is in your home. And I remember getting into it with Rob about
Mm,
that. And I fought him about it. And I was like, man, no, Rob. Like, man, when I got saved, I'm a servant of the Lord. God, yeah, I'm talking
yeah.
crazy. And Rob was like, no, bro, you wrong. Your wife and your children are your first ministry. And just maybe last year, I went back to bro and told him, I had to apologize. I was like, bro, you know what? Boy, I never forgot that conversation we had, and I fought you about it, and I just had to apologize to my brother and let him know that he was so
Yeah.
right. But
What is
man,
that, man,
and I remember
about
just
us, man, as men, where when how I want to say our wives, but just correction is coming, and we automatically put up the
mm,
defenses as if it's not correction, but it's
mm,
as if we're being chastised.
all right. I don't know what I think it's ego,
Okay.
man. Ego, bro. Pride. We're so proud. Like
Okay.
our pride gets hurt.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, uh, well, no, this was yesterday. Now I can talk about all type of mess ups. This was like 2 weeks ago. My wife got on me about something, and my pride
Yeah.
kicked in. And then I had to go back and apologize. Like, man, like right in the middle of it, I'm like, damn, I'm tripping. And then my wife looking at me like, bro, you do this all the time.
Mm.
But I thank God for people like my wife, especially my wife. Man, my wife be telling me about myself, and she always keep it real with me, and she keeps me humble because she don't sugarcoat it with me. She'll tell me straight up, man, Shaw, you
Mm.
tripping. Boy, you acting like you ain't no, I'm not accepting that. You wrong.
Yeah, boy. Look,
And then I'd be like, no, babe, I'm sorry. And she'll tell me, no, you're not sorry. You're not sorry. Real
hey, you
talk.
ain't even gonna get that. Nope.
Real talk.
Hey, but yeah, I like to say, man,
Yeah.
our wives are, you remember the story, mirror, mirror on the wall. That mirror doesn't
Yeah.
tell you what you want to hear or what, it doesn't show
Oh,
you what you want to see. It shows you the real you, and it tells you the real truth.
yeah.
And I feel like that's what our wives are, man. They're mirror, mirror, man. They're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna, they don't live for our egos. As a matter of fact, our egos are their biggest
Mm,
enemies. Um, you know what I mean? Like,
mm,
if there's ever a thing that they wish they could change the most about us, it's probably our pride and egos. Um, so I could see that, man.
mm.
I asked about a time when your wife was dealing with burnout, and I wanted to know how you dealt with it, and you answered it. You did a very poor, pitiful job. But
Yeah, I
I could
felt
tell you that you're not the only one that's felt in that area, and who took
real.
a plea for help as chastisement. Um, but
Mm,
how did you, when you realized what needed to be changed? What were some of the steps that you took to alleviate that pressure from her? Because honestly, a part of being a good dad is taking care of mom, so mom
all
can
right.
take care of the kids. Like, is keeping the house, is keeping that foundation of the house sturdy. And that foundation of the house sturdy isn't
Mm,
just watching over the children, but it's being the best husbands we can be as well.
that's real. Man, I'll say this. It probably wasn't until about 2 years
Hmm.
ago where I really started. I had those questions that a lot of men have. Like, man, why can't I not
Mm,
understand my wife?
yeah,
Because we were going through a hard, difficult patch
yeah.
2 years ago. Like we were like almost on the path. Like my wife was like, "Hey, listen, this here ain't working for
You
us."
could take
Like
you
real
take the
talk.
car,
And,
I take the
and what's
house.
crazy is real talk. Like and it was like, and I was almost down with it. I'm like, "Yeah, you right. This ain't working." And real talk. And we were both there, bro. Like real, and it was scary, bro. Like when I started really thinking about it, like it was really scary. And I would say that once I think I read a book It was called Four Men Only.
Okay.
I got the Four Men Only book, and I bought the Four Women Only book for
Mm-hmm.
her because we got into this big old argument, and long story short, we were like really just about to be like we're done. Like this is not for us. We can't. We just
Yeah.
ain't working. And so we both decided that no, we're both
Mm-hmm.
tripping. It's not the marriage.
Yeah.
It's us.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not. It's not the marriage. Is not the problem. It's us, the individuals
Mm-hmm.
within the marriage. And so I was like, you know what? We're gonna work on this thing, man. And I went and got those books. And one of the most important things I learned from that book was how to better understand my wife and women
Mm-hmm.
in general. And one of the biggest points in that book was um women don't want uh, if a woman comes to you, if my wife comes home from work and she's stressed out, a lot of times my wife is not looking for me to fix her
Absolutely
problem
not. Yep.
because my wife already knows how to
Yep.
fix her
Yep.
problem. She wants me to know that she wants to know that I'm listening and
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
her problem. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing for me because I'm a
Yes.
problem solver. And at times she comes home, she'll unload all the stuff on me, and then I'm like, "Well, why you ain't do this? Or why you ain't say that?" And then she's like, "Man,
Yeah.
ain't listening."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "No, I'm
Yeah.
listening." But I had to learn to just be like, "Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, yeah, I feel you, babe." And I ain't offering solutions. I'm just hearing her out, and I'm trying to just
Okay.
hear her and let her know that I hear
Okay.
her, bro. Ever since I started doing that, my wife, it's like I would say, man, our marriage has been, we
Of
still have
course.
our
Yeah.
ups and downs, but our marriage has been great in the last year.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we're getting better with working with each other and talking things out. Even though I do still be tripping. And she don't have a problem with letting me know that. But I'm getting better with even understanding, like just trying not to be offended by things that she say and just take it as, nah, bro, you can do better in that area. And so, yeah, like I think it's just getting the understanding of your wife and understanding that, as the husband of my home and the father
Mm-hmm.
in my home, I have to be I have to be the strength of my home. I have to be that. Like I have to be the one that stands up. I can't just continue to do this and do that. Like I gotta be that consistent
You have to
force in the
lead.
home where
Yeah.
I gotta lead, bro.
Yeah.
I have to.
Mm.
And a woman doesn't mind following
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
lead.
Yeah. When
They
you
just don't.
lead properly. I think
When
it's
you
a lot
lead
of brothers
properly.
that think just by being a man and having a penis mean that you're a leader. Um, yeah,
No.
and there's more to being a leader than having hair on your chest. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's good, man. Um, I I we're gonna. I don't want to hold you too long, man. We're not gonna. I want to kind of get a question to you real quick. Um, kind of rear back to the dad part. What do you enjoy most about being a dad?
Ooh, man, I enjoy the love,
Yeah.
bro. One thing about kids, man, kids are so forgiving, and I think there's so many things we can learn from them. Even in all my mistakes I make, I could be on my kids behind
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes, and then the next 10 minutes, man, the kids don't even be worried about that
Yeah.
stuff, man. You get on them one night, the next morning, man, them kids ain't think. They're just so forgiving, and they love you, man. Like they love you unconditionally. They love you without anything that comes. They just know that's my
Yeah.
daddy, and they look to us for everything. And that love, that consistent. I can have the hardest day at work when I see these jokers, even though I know they probably finna get on my nerves and drive me crazy.
Tell the
But
truth.
just being around
Yeah.
them sometimes gives me comfort, bro. Like real talk, just sometimes just listening to them sit in the back seat and fuss. But I'm like, man, I'm with
Yeah.
my baby. Like And I know, especially those daughters, you gonna see, bro. You got the sons
Yeah.
right now, bro. Listen, those daughters, bro. Listen, what don't nobody make you feel love like your daughters
Okay.
do, bro? Man, bro, listen, the way that they love when you like my daughters always come telling me how handsome I am. I be like, okay, yeah, okay. They all I got the bald head. They come rub my head and say, "Daddy, I love your bald head." I say, "Yeah, baby, me too." Yeah, they make you feel so good.
Oh
They make you
gosh.
feel so good.
Oh, you talk to your wife.
They make you feel so good, bro.
I don't know, man. But my kids, my boys, are they're they're affectionate, man. Like I kiss my sons.
Yeah,
I hug my sons.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
how my son
and
is
so
too.
my sons will break out. Dad, I love you. Dad, I love you. Like, and,
All
I yeah,
all
all
day,
day, all the time, man. I love you, Daddy. And we have
all
this
day.
little song that we sing. I love David. I love DJ. So I mean, like,
Yeah,
it's love is in the air around here. But then at the same time, man, these dudes, like, I have
yeah,
to referee and keep them from like hurting themselves, hurting the
man.
baby. My 2-year-old don't know how big, how
Mm-mm.
strong he is, man. And so he terrorizes both the oldest and the youngest. Uh,
Yeah,
so yeah, I feel like some days I'm referee, some days I mean I feel like Paul. I became all things to all so that I fight with. So
yes, sir.
it all depends on who my kids are
Yeah.
today. That's who I have to become.
Okay.
Hey man, this is good. I really enjoyed this conversation. I enjoyed this talk. I
Yeah.
would love to have you back on, man, in a couple months or so down the line, man, and talk about a few other different things. Like we all we really did talk about today was burnout, which is good. I would like to. I'm a topic
Yeah.
to show burnout. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Hey, we didn't get to do this in the beginning, so can you tell the people, how they can find your podcast, your website, just information on how they can get in contact with you, get your t-shirts, all that.
Um, well, I host a podcast called Dad Can We Talk, and you can find us at dadcanwetalk.com. That's the website, so you'll find all the episodes streaming on the website. Then you can find us on Apple Music, Spotify, Google Music, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, it's gonna be there. You can simply go to Google and type in "Dad Can We Talk," and everything will pop up: the YouTube page, the Facebook page, the Instagram page. Uh, so yeah, it's pretty easy to find once you just go on
Mm-hmm.
these platforms, type in "Dad Can We Talk," and it will pop up. And then I have shirts for anyone that's interested in shirts. So I got some new designs I'm coming out with, man. I got some special
Yeah.
colors I'm about to release. So I should have some new shirts in. I just sold out like last week, man. So I should have some new shirts in the next 2 3 weeks. So yeah, man, if y'all are interested, man, just hit me up on Facebook. That's usually the easiest way to reach me, or go on the website. There's a contact page on there. You can leave me an email there. Um, Wherever you see me, my name is Anthony Ray. You go on Facebook. I'm active mostly everywhere. So if you see me out, I'm always down to talk. I love to run my mouth. Yeah, that's what I do. I'm dad. Dad, can we talk? That's literally all I like to do is talk.
Hey folks, so that concludes our episode for today. I want to thank my man, Mr. Anthony Rashad Ray, for coming on the show, just being very transparent with us. If you get a chance, please go to his podcast, which is called Dad Can We Talk, and check him out. Please don't forget to go to iTunes and like, subscribe, comment, drop a comment. It really helps us to get in front of more people. Also follow us wherever you are listening to us on, if it's on Castbox or Spotify, wherever it's at, hit that follow button. And then also do me this favor, go to my IG page, which is called Blue Chip Dads, and follow, like, comment, help your boy out. I'm really trying to get this exposure for content, for impact. The more likes we get, the more people we can get in front of. The more people we can get in front of, the more lives we can touch. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. So, hey, thank you for listening, for tuning in. Again, new episode every Monday. That's right, every Monday. And next week we got my man Choice. He goes by Chris Joyce. That's his real name, but he's an artist. Dude is a dynamic father. We're gonna be talking about just fueling the passion of your children. So it's gonna be dope. So check us out next week. Thank you again for tuning in. God bless y'all. I love y'all. That's it. I'm out.